First, before we start, I want to thank you guys for all the support, content, dialogue that we had, the growth of the channel, and I hope everybody had a great start to the new year and a happy holidays. Let's go over with the show. So, of course, knowing that it's already a month away from yada yada yada, the trade deadline, of course, big updates and big upgrades. Of course, the Knicks have shown to be a passable, above 500 playoff team, but inefficiency has been the close margin of error for this team. Even though we have the most close quarter matchups in the NBA right now, but over the trade deadline, but before the trade deadline even barely reached over a week, the Knicks made a trade, and of course, it was for OG Anunoby, Precious Achiuwa, Maliki Flynn, for RJ Barrett, one of my more saddest leaves on the Knicks. It's not RJ, it's Emmanuel Quickly, a young 6-man 2-guard up the secondary unit. The upside is these guys will possibly get more starting time, get the ball revolved around them more. On a weaker team, where starting rotations possibly could be more won over, especially for RJ Barrett or Emmanuel Quickly, knowing that they're younger, faster, they seem to get along, young professionals. The problem with RJ Barrett, highly coming over the Knicks fan base, was inefficiency, and you don't know what majority quality he brings over to the game. They try to stretch him over because he's an oversized 2-guard. Yes, RJ does play the shooting guard position. For his spot up and playmaking, sometimes he'll be too overly rash and overdo his layups. Can't finish around the rim, and sometimes he's just shown to be invisible on offensive productions, where Julius Randle is shown to be more having an upside. Even over the after two straight loss game debut of both OG Anunoby over the rotation, we were more defensively sound. We led by 18. We did close over the gap and allow too many points around the second half. But OG's spot up shooting and playmaking, primarily more his defensive presence is more over an impact, is just having another bigger body that can just spread around the floor and defend more guys than the miscommunication that you could get off a young 2-guard. And OG did come off the bat actually scoring over near 15 points in his NBA debut. Jalen Brunson had a 16-point game around the debut of those guys. After the trade, Julius Randle went off. Post fades, spot ups over from the baseline. He was super. I like Randle when he's super confident. He plays over to his strengths. He attacks the rim as he should, and when he takes over, he's a perennial all-star when he shows up into the game. And they were closing out over defensively. What really broke apart the Minnesota Timberwolves, it's actually a top seed in the Western Conference, was turnovers off points. We were highly more defensively sound. Even though I feel like the Timberwolves did lead over in the second half in steals, Hartenstein had like 3 shot blocks in the game and a total of 3 steals. DiVincenzo was finishing around the rim. Lob passes over to OG Anunoby. Fast break points over turnovers still is an impact over in basketball. I love the turnover ratio, and if this defensive impact continues, Knicks can be a great team. I don't know if they'll be in the same momentum how they were when we first traded for Josh Hart from last year's deadline, when we won 10 straight over late February over to the season and ended over with the top seed without making our way into the play-in tourney. So there's still a lot to be had, a lot of notches to be polishing to know what definitive team this is, to make sure this is not just a perennial second round team knowing the development of OG. But I understand the team can't be the same as it is. So that's an understandable standpoint. Do I feel like Ime quickly will show out in Toronto? Because I'm still a fan of his play style. I'd love to see him progress. And hopefully next season he can become an all-star if he continues in the trajectory he's in. RJ, I think out of many people, I've been the major supporter of RJ Barrett when it comes to his play style. He's iffy at times, not the greatest on defense, too inefficient and inconsistent on certain ways on the ball. Hopefully for a different change of scenery and a bit more comfort knowing that you're going to be playing around your hometown, I guess that will be an upside, but that just comes off him contributing and knowing his major role probably is going to shift over as a more primary piece, playing with Pascal Siakam for the time, because I think he's going to be traded as well. We understand it's for NBA media, more of the Toronto Raptors are good depth pieces or role pieces, like how Fred VanVleet was trying to leave in the summer. Pascal Siakam could be used as a primary second option over on a playoff team like probably the Indiana Pacers. Not the Los Angeles Lakers. Possibly the Los Angeles Clippers. Somebody that just needs that secondary offensive scoring impact plus that defense. And Pascal is still young, so that's a major upside over his trade trajectory. Maybe to the Thunder. So that's the conversations for another day. All we know is Raptors are a major trade commodity, knowing that they got like postseason experienced depth pieces that could be used in impactful roles, and probably the Raptors need that change over the right direction instead of being a perennial play-in team. So I can understand the target system there. So they got a future pick and some future stars, and we got some primary role pieces that could possibly help us further our way into the playoffs. I'm all for it, to be honest with you. Tell me how you guys feel down in the comment section below about this trade. You think it's going to help or hinder the Knicks' progression for the remainder of the season, or are we going to make more further trades? That's it for me. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys had a great start to the new year.